This is a Casamigos Añejo New Fashioned. When I asked Mark O'Brien to be on the show, he said absolutely, and he would love to sit down for a chat and drink some old fashions.
I've only ever really shot tequila.
Really?
At large quantities.
Okay. Yeah. I usually ask the guests what they like to drink, and then I try to make a twist to it. The Añejo New Fashioned is similar to the classic Old Fashioned, but we're using a nice aged tequila instead of whiskey or bourbon. We need a tiny bit of simple syrup, 2 dashes Angostura Bitters, 2 dashes Orange Bitters, Añejo Casamigos, a nice big rocks glass, 1 large ice cube, and my favorite part of the cocktail, a nice big orange peel. Mark O'Brien is a very accomplished actor. You probably recognize him from TV shows like *Halt and Catch Fire*, *The Last Tycoon*, *Republic of Doyle*, or the sci-fi drama movie *Arrival*. With more than 10 other films and TV shows he either just completed or is about to get started, Mark was able to make time to sit down with me over a New Fashioned. I'm Riker Lynch, and this is Glass Half Full. All right,
man.
Mark O'Brien. Thanks for doing this, man.
Of course, man. Thanks for having me.
It's funny because we first met playing hockey.
Yeah.
And it was probably only a few times, a couple times a week, and then months in between because you're obviously working. But I just had no idea. And when we had like a couple interactions on Twitter, and I remember seeing like that you were kind of a big time actor.
Oh, thanks.
And so doing research for this when we were gonna have you on the show, I'm blown away.
Oh, cool. Thanks.
Like insanely talented.
Oh, thanks.
I watched all of *Halt and Catch Fire*.
Oh, wow.
Lots of *Last Tycoon* and even a little bit of *Republic of Doyle*. And to see just you kind of in all of these different characters and different even time, not time zones, but
periods.
Time periods.
Yeah.
I was fascinating. I mean, I'm a big fan, man.
Oh, thanks, man.
It was so cool to see you just doing your thing, and especially because I just didn't really. You play hockey.
It's always weird when you're playing a sport with someone you don't. I didn't know you guys were musicians.
Yes.
I had no idea, and one of the guys, John, told me he was like, they're a huge band. I was like, really? Because you can't picture the person outside of that thing.
You just see the cage, like you kind of like see the eyes, and that's really as far as it goes.
Yeah, it's a funny thing. Yeah.
Yeah, well, thanks so much for being here.
Of course, man. Thanks for having me.
I want to know, I want to get into like how all this acting and stuff got started, but first, you're from Canada. Yep. And you're a very good hockey player.
Thanks, man.
So, was there ever a point where you were like, well, I want to be a professional hockey player?
First of all, I'm not saying this just because it's your show. I often tell everyone else there, I'm like, Riker's the best player here. I always say that. I'm like, Riker's by far the best player here because he's a 200-foot player, which is rare. You would be drafted so high, like scouts would love you so much because a 200-foot player is a player that plays both ends of the ice, and they're very rare. Anyway, I just want to say that.
I appreciate that.
And it's really true. Anyway, that's all I wanted to do was play hockey. That's it. Yeah. I have 3 older sisters who are all actors and singers, and they'd be running around the house doing musical stuff all the time and acting and stuff, and I just didn't care.
Really?
I was not interested. I just wanted to play hockey, and that's all I wanted to do. And I was pretty good. I was a pretty good hockey player, but I was never
You're still good.
Thanks, man. I was never there, though. I was always just a little bit beneath. And I think it's because I wasn't great physically. Like, I wasn't a good body checker. I couldn't take a hit well because I was so lanky.
Yeah.
So I developed in a weird kind of, not a weird way, like a lot of guys do, but it was just like everyone else had a bit more muscle or were more compact, it seemed, when we started checking. So it just slowly was not working. So it was never in the cards until me and my buddy started making movies together when we were 14, 15 years old.
Wow.
And then we just wanted like to making movies. We just like fool around on the weekends. And
do you think that had to do with because your sisters were acting and
probably
doing stuff like that?
Probably like influenced me without me really noticing it.
Right.
But I saw Fight Club. Fight Club changed my whole life.
Oh man, that's funny. Yeah, we were just talking about that actually.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That
changed my life.
I totally agree. That's one of those where you're just like both of those guys, Brad Pitt and Edward Norton are that's fantastic.
Because it's a cool movie that actually like is challenging at the same time. Yeah. And back then, it's like I didn't get a whole lot of that. I didn't see a whole lot of that kind of stuff. And when I saw it, we were like, let's actually try and make movies. And then we were like trying, and we used to edit on 2 VCRs.
Wow.
Yeah, dude. Like we didn't have much money, and my friend had a camcorder that had the viewfinder. And we were like, oh my God, I have to utilize this all the time. Yeah. And then we'd use 2 VCRs. So what you'd do is you'd edit from the tape in the camera, which was a high 8 tape.
Okay.
Then you'd edit that onto a VHS. Then you take that on a VHS tape, then you put that in the VCR, connect that through a TV, through another VCR, so you press play on one VCR and record on the other. So it was super rudimentary, and and we thought they were great. We made it at like 25 minutes. One was like an hour and 10 minutes. Like
really
terrible, but like we loved it. And then I think I started to like acting more. I was like, I kind of like acting. I think I'm kind of good at it. Like I find it pretty easy. In a way that I wasn't nervous.
Right.
Like that, yeah.
When you're doing these movies, are you doing like, did you guys write the script or write the story?
There was no script. We used to edit in camera. So it would be like, okay, Riker, go like in this scene, like, you know, and we always played like cops. But it was funny. Like we knew it was funny. And so I'd be like, okay, Riker, you're the chief, right? Okay, great. So you're mad at us because we didn't do the case right. And then you'd say a bit until you just petered out and out of improv. Then we literally just turn the camera back on us. Get the guy who was just playing the role to hold the camera.
Hold the camera, yeah.
And then we would just improv based on what he said. So we went chronologically in every movie. So I still think that informed a lot of my acting.
Yeah.
Because you're in the moment. I learned how to improvise on my own. And also as a filmmaker, you understand what's needed. And I always think like, and I'm sure you know this as an actor and musician, it's like, it's good to know other people's jobs.
Yes.
So when I'm on the set and I see that this guy needs this or that guy needs this thing or the boom guy can't seem to find an angle, I can kind of help out. Be like, dude, I can just banana in or I can whatever. Like, so I think it helped me realize that while I was doing both at the same time, it's like this is completely collaborative.
Yeah.
And I see sometimes actors who I don't think necessarily realize all the other facets. Oh, and then the production stalls, and then people have trouble, and I think it's important. So it kind of just happened naturally.
Well, that's funny because I had a similar thing growing up with me and my brothers, but it wasn't like we were all in it together. It was like me begging them to like help me make this movie, and we didn't. I like that you guys kind of improv because we would like. I would watch James Bond films and just type out the lines.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and I would type them out, and then I'd be like, "Here's the script. You know, here you go."
So it was the exact same.
It was the exact same.
It was like the definition of plagiarism.
Yes, exactly. Full on plagiarism, and we just wanted to like because I just loved action films and I loved James Bond,
really
so
cool.
I would just try to recreate it, you know, with using what we had.
Wow.
And, you know, it was always like one scene, and then it would go into a fight scene, and you know, we never had enough. I could barely get Ross to help me out, so Ross was like played like 8 different guards, and he dies like 8 different times. You know what I mean?
Did you bother to change his clothes? Sometimes we didn't even do that.
It was simple. It was either like a jacket or like a beanie.
right. You know, now he doesn't have the beanie
exactly, on. Yeah. So something similar like that. But that's funny. We had like the same.
Did you ever use the dummies? Like so I'd go to throw you, and then we'd cut, and then we'd have a dummy.
Oh,
we used to do that all the time.
No, we just did all our own stunts.
Oh wow, we were pussies basically. We were scared to death. But after a while, we used to try and make the head was always hard because you had to like put stuff up through the shirt of the stuffing and then sort of put a mask on it or something like that represented our skin tone. And then after a while, we just got lazy and there was no heads on any of the dummies. And they weren't even wearing the same clothes. So I'd go to pick you up to throw you, and all of a sudden you have a white shirt on and no head. It's like the audience couldn't even piece together what the hell happened.
Yeah. That's awesome, though.
That's funny you guys did that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny that we have very similar in both hockey. I was never fortunate enough to play like any. I played like in-house leagues and stuff growing up, but still so fun.
What age did you start playing hockey?
I started playing when I was like 3.
Oh wow, that's pretty early. Yeah.
Yeah.
I started 7. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So like basically, as soon as I could walk, my dad started playing.
Of course.
The same time I did. So I wanted to play because he started playing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sort of a thing.
Oh, your dad has a good rhythm though, because he plays hockey with us too, and he doesn't seem like someone who started later.
Yeah, he started playing when he was like 33.
I would have assumed like he played as a kid.
That's a lot of people say. They're like, did you play college?
Because you can always, don't you find you can tell people on the ice, it's like, that guy started playing 5 years ago, that guy started playing 10 years ago, that guy played since he was a baby.
Yeah, I like the guy that's like, that guy used to play roller hockey and now he's trying to play ice.
Yeah. He's giving it his all. Like,
it's just a little wobbly.
Yeah, there's a few little things,
That's funny. So you're going, you're making your own home videos sort of thing. When do you have your like first sort of job?
Well, it was funny.
Official job.
Yeah, I was doing that for a while, and then I lived in St. John's, Newfoundland, where I'm from, and I'm from just outside St. John's, a town called Paradise, which is very rural. It's very small. It's about 8,000 people when I grew up, so it's a small neighborhood. But St. John's in Newfoundland, which is on the northeast coast of Canada, is like, there's like 100,000 people, but everybody's an artist.
Okay.
Everybody is working on a film or making an album. Like, that's
kind of cool.
It's huge.
Yeah.
So the arts community there really took me in sort of and supported me a lot. So I must have done 24 plays and stuff like that.
Oh, awesome.
But I started, the first thing I did was a musical called Bye Bye Birdie, which is, And I had a role of a reporter, and I was like 18, and I took it so seriously. And then I was in the chorus, and I can't sing. And there was only like 5 guys in the male chorus. So every time we'd go to rehearsal, I was mortified. Oh, no. Because they would be like, and they were like, let's do it, Mark. Why don't you just take a break on this one so that we can actually rehearse properly. Right. So it was like the sacrifice I had to make. Because this business, as you know, is difficult.
Oh, yeah.
And right from the top, it's kind of good. I kind of got broken in like that by being embarrassed. Yeah. Because you can't actually let yourself get embarrassed in the business. You have to have no inhibitions. So anyway, so I did that, and then I got a job hosting a kids show, and I hosted a kids show.
Before we get into that, I just have to say, you were a reporter in Bye Bye Birdie.
Yeah.
I did this same role.
What?
Yeah.
You're kidding me.
I was a reporter in Bye Bye Birdie, and
are you serious?
I'm dead serious. It was like
when dressing Connor if he's going out with the girl or something like that.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, and it was like a shortened version, like there's short films. It was like a short play.
Yeah.
It was like this kids. Almost like a glee group, Glee choir, but in the summer they put on plays. So there's 3 different plays, and it was just children versions of the plays. Like I did Aladdin one year, I did Peter Pan, and then Grease one year. So it was Bye Bye Birdie, and I was the reporter. So
that is the most amazing thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I worked hard on that.
Making home movies. And then the reporter in Bye Bye Birdie, and we both play hockey.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Except you're musically talented. That's the only thing. I have no musical talent.
You're a much better actor than I am.
Well, thank you. I need to take that to even it out. But yeah, no, it was fun, man. And then hosting a kids show, like I used to come on in between commercials, basically, on the show. And then we'd take it on the road throughout Canada. Because there were 5 hosts in Canada, 1 in each region. So I was the East Coast host of this show on CBC, which is like the biggest network kind of in Canada. So, man, you lose your inhibitions really quick when you're a dancing turkey on stage in front of like 800 people.
Oh, no, yeah.
So after that, it was just like, I don't care. I don't give a shit, man. Like, I can do anything. I'm never nervous. I'm never embarrassed from this day forward.
But that's going to take you a long way, I would imagine. Yeah. Especially, you're like 18, 19 then?
Yeah, I was 19 when I got that job until 21. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you can get rid of your nerves, you're so much more comfortable. And I talked to a lot of people that kind of use their nerves, and it sort of lights a fire underneath them. And, and I appreciate that. But at the same time, I think there's something very valuable and very noticeable, especially when working with someone when they're totally comfortable in their own skin.
Like I always looked up to Gary Oldman.
Yes.
Because Gary Oldman is so comfortable. It's because you're using your body. Like it really is just. Physical is what you're doing. I mean, it starts from a place that's real and stuff like that, but like you can feel it when someone comes in a room and they're nervous. And you immediately are turned off. It's kind of like when you're watching a play or watching a performance of any sort and someone's not very good.
Yeah.
It's harder for you than them, I think. Because you're like, like they're going to explode.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, you feel bad.
And you're like, end it quick. Like, it's so terrible. And I think that's why the best artists in general are people who are very comfortable in their own skin. And they're like, I don't give a shit.
And it's noticeable, too.
It's palpable. It's kind of like, when you walk into a room after people just had a big argument.
Yeah,
you can tell.
You can feel it. It's in the air.
It's like that. Yeah. It's like when someone comes in. I've been on the other side of auditions a lot, watching people. And I'm like, he's so nervous. I hate this for him. Like, I just wish he felt good.
So being on the other side of auditions, that's got to be like the biggest insight into your own auditions.
Oh yeah, man, it's huge. Like, have you ever done it? Have you ever been on the other side?
Like one time, it was for a music video, so there really wasn't much going on.
It's a bit different, yeah.
But
dude, it's like I did it kind of. I would ask people like if I could, if I could like watch it. I sit on auditions, and then when I first moved to Toronto, because I lived in Toronto for a long time before I moved here to LA. I would go for student film auditions that, I had an agent and stuff. I had a bit of a career started. And I would audition for student films for practice. And I'd book some of them, and some of them I didn't. And I would always turn them down if I booked them because I was just going to practice auditioning because it's a different skill.
Wow, that's kind of genius.
Yeah, and then when I did Republic of Doyle, the series in Canada, the first 2 seasons, I asked the local casting people if I could be the reader.
Nice.
So, and they had to pay me something, so I got like $50 a session or something, but I would go, it was still a few bucks.
But you're learning so much.
I was going learning. I was just sitting with these people and just reading with them, and I was like, oh wow, on the other side, like, why fucking nervous, bro? Like, just chill out. Like, it's all good. We want you to be great. Like,
yeah, that's what I've always tried to think that way. It's like the casting director wants you to come in and blow it out of the water, so their job's done.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
And they can show you to the director and be like, well, fucking, I found them.
Look who I found. Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think if you can just get that sort of mindset there, it makes auditioning so much easier.
I'm curious. So, do you get nervous before a show?
Never.
Did you in the beginning? Like, what age did you start?
I started playing bass when I was like 18, and we sort of started playing shows. I was probably like 18 and a half, really. Like our first show, yeah.
So 6 months training, roughly?
Yeah, we kind of just threw it out there, and we only played around Los Angeles, like local fairs, like the Orange County Fair, San Diego Fair, like little things like that, coffee houses.
Dude, that's crazy, though.
Yeah, anywhere that anyone would have us. And honestly, that was the best training for us at the time. It was just learning how to be in front of a crowd and how to play and be tight as a band. Like, that was a really big deal. But I think I got nervous like the first ever time we played in front of like some friends. And then after that, I was like, oh, that was fine.
Yeah, you break it in, yeah. That's crazy, though. I thought you were going to say you were playing since you were like 5 or 6 or something.
No, yeah. I mean, I loved like banging around on the drums, and I sang and stuff all the time growing up, but I never actually could really play until I was like 18. I got a bass for my 18th birthday.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
That's really impressive, man.
Thank you.
Jeez.
Thank you.
Gosh.
So you're out in Toronto, and that's when you did Republic of Doyle.
I got it just after I moved to Toronto, and I shot Republic of Doyle in Newfoundland, where I'm from.
Oh, wow.
So I actually went home.
Home.
Yeah, it was great. I went home for 6 months of the year for 6 years, yeah.
What was that process like? Like, as far as like the auditioning, because that was like your first sort of like really big thing, right?
Yeah, it was actually really interesting because I knew the creator really well, and I didn't know if I was right for the role. I actually thought I was too old at the time because I was 23 and he was listed as like 18 or something. I look younger than I am generally, so I did then anyway. And so I sent a tape, and it was only a half an hour show, and I only had 2 lines. So at the time I was like, cool, if I get 2 lines on a pilot, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And so I sent the tape, and then they were like, oh, we really like you. I got the part. I was like, great. Then they picked up the series and made it an hour. And then the creator was a buddy of mine, Alan. He called and he's like, you're going to be a big part of the show.
Sweet.
Like, I just want you to know. And I was like, Jesus, that was so easy. I had one audition. I didn't do screen tests. I didn't have to do anything. And then it just became bigger. And then it went on for 6 years.
Sometimes things like that are just sort of, meant to be, if you will. Just sort of roll out like that. And, I think it's important to appreciate like the easiness of that, because the struggles are going to come in other areas. So if you can just sort of be like, wow, this is great, and really rock it for what it is.
If anything happens easy, it's a take it as a huge win. You're like, holy shit, like I didn't have to lose an arm to get that thing. Yeah. It's a big deal, man. It's a tough business.
And that's the show that sort of brought you into Hollywood, correct?
Yeah, so from doing that show, I ended up doing a few other gigs in Canada, and then I got a green card with my wife. My wife's an actor as well. So, and green card's like a long process. Like, it's, it's very detailed, and they want to know a lot of stuff.
Yeah, my manager's German, so it's the same. Yeah, he's had to do that a couple times.
And you have to fill this long form that's like, have you ever, like, killed someone? Like, I'm like, no. Like, why would I say yes? Like, it's really weird.
It's like, oh, got me.
I wrote whoops next to it. No, it was long and stuff like that. But then because I'd had Republic of Doyle, which was a big deal in Canada, it helped me move into the States. And then I moved here, and it went really well. Like, I think I booked Halt and Catch Fire. I think I was here a week, which was crazy. Yeah, I was here.
Wow,
a week.
Another like awesome one. What was
crazy?
What was that? Was that one where you have you got the tape in, then you go into the room, and then you have producers and network? Was that a bigger deal?
No, it was nothing like that. They had done one season. And then I was really sick. I had a fever, and I was really sick. And my wife came home, and I was like, I got to do this audition for this show. And I hadn't known of the show. Obviously, it was AMC, so I was a big fan of Mad Men and Breaking Bad and all that. And I was like, it's AMC. That's kind of cool. They already did a season, so I don't have to wait for a pilot pickup. Mm-hmm. And then I looked it up, and Scoot McNairy, who's an actor who I really admire, was in it, and Lee Pace, who's an actor I really admire. So I was like, oh wow, they're in the show. And then I looked up the trailer. I was like, the show looks really good. Yeah. So I watched as much as I could, and I just did one audition. And then that night, they were like, we really like you. We think they're gonna cast you. I was like, what? Like, I just did it, and I was really sick, so I was like, is this happening? Yeah. Where am I? Am I still in Canada? And then I got it, and then I watched the whole season, and it all happened really fast. And I had like 2 episodes left to watch, and I was flying into Atlanta where we shot. I was like, I just got to LA. I was like, I don't even know what's going on. Like, I've never been to Atlanta. And we're landing, and I finished watching one of the episodes, The next morning, I watched the last episode, and they're like, "We're ready for you early." So they pulled my call time to bring me to set early because they were ahead of schedule. So they drove me to set, and I was like, "What's going on?" and then even though I'd acted before, but there was something about your first U.S. job, especially if you're not from America. And so I got to set, and then they were like, "We're ready early. Like we have to go through makeup and hair really quick because they're ready for you on set." I was like, "What?" Then I go to set, and I do this big 3-page scene, which was my first scene actually in the show. And it was weird because I just finished watching the show, so all of a sudden I was in the world of the show. I was like, there's Carrie Bichet and Mackenzie Davis, and I just finished watching them, and I didn't know their work prior, so I knew them only as these characters in the 80s. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? What is going on? And then... What scene did you shoot? It was a scene where I'm in the grocery bag, and they come to get mad at me, which is my first scene.
Because you had hacked into their...
Yeah, and I had to riddle off all this computer jargon that I didn't know what the fuck any of it meant, and it was like... And then I was only supposed to do 6 episodes. It was just supposed to be a 6-episode arc.
Right.
And then it ended up just becoming more, and it really defined, it really helped me kind of open up doors in LA because not a lot of people watch the show, but a lot of industry people watch the show.
Right.
And it's really well reviewed. So in that world, I think, people not so much in the arts community, the ratio is a bit smaller for that amount of people to watch it, but the arts community loved the show.
Yeah.
So within
it's a really good show. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I think it's great. I really like it.
It was really interesting because I'd never seen anything like that. It was just so much, internet and computers and everyone trying to figure out what the next sort of online thing was.
And words you don't even know what they mean, yet you're not, it doesn't lose you.
Yeah,
they're
totally.
64-bit hard drive thing, and I'm still like, yep.
Are you when you're going through your lines? Are you looking up what everything is? Or
of course, yeah. I feel it's a responsibility to do it, but it also changes things. Like if you know a lot about the thing that you're talking about, and I see a lot of actors who don't do that at all. It's actually more common than not in my experience that I've witnessed people don't do that.
Yeah.
But I think it's so important. When it's something you know a lot about, the way you'll talk about something is different. Say me and you are talking about hockey, and I were to say say skate guards. Skate guards are what people wear on their skates. Now, if I didn't know what skate guards were, and I had a line where I'm like, anyway, the guy came in on skate guards, and then he was actually pretty good. But if I were to say to you, who knows what skate guards are, which is what you wear when you're a kid, I would be like, the guy came in with skate guards on, but he was actually really good. It changes my intention. So I think you need to know what you're talking about because not just to know it, but to what will this mean for the character?
Yeah, I admire that you do that because I heard and not to bash anybody in Star Trek, but one of the characters, and I actually think this is actually funny, is he went to the director and he's like, "What the fuck am I talking about here?" And he's like, and J.J. Abrams it doesn't matter. You're gonna run in, you're gonna say it really fast, and the audience is gonna go, "Oh shit, something's wrong."
Right.
Yeah. And I guess it's a little different because it's space stuff, and it doesn't actually exist.
Yeah, the D46 modulator is broken.
Yeah, great example.
And then a sting of music duh, and you're like, "Oh my god, the D46 modulator."
Yeah. So, but I like that. I like that you think it's a responsibility to go out and do that.
Yeah, and someone wrote that.
Yeah.
They wrote that. They wrote it with something in mind. The writer wasn't just I don't know, D46 modulator. I'm going to keep using that. It meant something to them. So it should mean something to you. That too, I think.
That's awesome. Well, I love that show, and I think hopefully people will go back and watch it more now because it's so interesting. And I did start on the second season because I knew that's where you were. But even just starting there...
That show you can. Yeah, my wife did.
You can.
Yeah, and she loved it.
And it's very interesting. I thought your character... There's a scene where you are the lead girl...
Mackenzie.
Yeah, she's having the panic attack.
Oh, yeah.
And you just calm her down, and I thought you were just fantastic.
Oh, great, thanks.
And it was just so simple, but it's something it was all in your eyes, and you were just and you just bring her back to earth a little bit, and I was literally watching this I cannot wait for this interview.
Oh, thanks, man.
It was so cool, well, especially just knowing you from hockey and not really knowing your work, and then like I said, doing my research and being like, oh my god, this guy's freaking awesome.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah,
thanks. She's such a good actress too. She's when you work with good actors, sometimes people ask me what was it like working with blah blah blah, and I'm like, easy, because they're good.
Oh yeah, that's got to be a huge thing when you work with someone that's really good.
It's a game changer, and Mackenzie is I think she's as good as it gets, and it's great. But I want to say that too. I don't want to keep tossing this back just to do it. It's actually true. When I looked you guys up too, it's so funny because I don't know. I guess because we're here talking about it now, it's that phenomena of like seeing someone in a different world.
Yeah.
It is really weird because when I looked you guys up, because I remember John, who's a guy we play with, when he mentioned that before, I was like, really? Interesting. Crazy. I didn't know they were in a band. And then I heard someone else mention it. And then as the weeks or months went by, because I must have made probably 2 years ago, maybe?
Yeah, a couple
2.5
years, yeah.
3 even. I was like, oh, wow. And then one day I was like, I was going to look them up. And then I was like, Jesus Christ, they have like millions of views. They're really good. Like, these guys are serious. Like, I had no idea.
Thank you, man.
As if because I saw you play hockey, as if you couldn't do something else. Like, it's this weird...
Yeah, I don't know. It's
so strange.
Especially just like, there's like a hockey bubble, I think, especially with like the pickup games.
Yeah.
Like, it's great to see everybody on Tuesday and Thursday, and you say what up, and you're like, how's everything? But then you don't really talk outside of that for whatever reason. And so just like watching your work, dude, it was fantastic.
Oh, thanks, man.
And yeah, I actually remember playing it because the first few times we played together, it was like we were always against each other.
Always. And then, I hated it because you're a 200-foot player.
Thank you. I hate trying to follow your stick handling. So I was like, it's over here, and then it's like 4 feet this way. So, but yeah, then I remember finally getting to play. I'm pretty sure we probably dominated pretty hard.
Yeah, I think we played pretty well together.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. We complement each other because I can help out in the defensive zone, get it up to you, and the puck's gone. So.
And I suck in the defensive zone. It's weird because I used to think defensive hockey players were just not good because they were lazy, probably. Like, or like there was like a stigma on like Pavel Bure.
Yeah.
And like some of the really, really good offensive players, like, yeah, they're no good on defense. But it's like, no, it's a skill, man. Like
it is. It's an interesting sort of almost mindset that you have to be in.
Yeah, yeah. It's like Drew Doughty. Like it's like, wow, the stuff he does in the defensive zone, like just sticks in the lanes and like.
He's really freaking good. Did you watch the game last night?
I saw bits of it.
Yeah, bummer. I don't think anyone called the sweep. I thought a lot of people were like, they'll probably take it, but. That's probably a Stanley Cup team this year, man.
I think they are, and you say that, and people are like, nah, let's not go nuts. I'm like, they had 109 points, dude, in the regular season.
And their two best players led the league in plus minus. Like, that's huge.
That's true.
Those guys are on the ice.
Goals,
those guys are on the ice the most, and they led the league in plus minus. Like, that's a big deal.
That's nuts. I remember when they drafted, when the expansion draft, everyone was like, they could have got better players. This team's going to suck.
Yeah. It's because they're all the rejects. They're like, everyone left us out to dry? Okay.
William Karlsson, it's like 7 goals or something last year, 43 this year.
Yeah, that's a great turnaround.
If you could decide to right now be an NHL hockey player, but it meant you were not an actor or musician, would you do it over your career right now?
What line am I playing on?
A good line. Let's say you're on a good team, a good line.
Good line, like first or second.
Lots of years ahead of you.
I'm top six. Top six player.
You're getting 15 minutes a game.
Man, that's a good question.
You're a middle team. Make it harder. You're like a bubble team, a bubble playoff team.
Okay.
That's
so
tough.
like an 8th seed, okay, possible. Yeah, I don't know, man. That's tough because I love hockey, and I definitely think in another life that I will do that.
Yeah.
I love it so much. But I also kind of love it that it's like a fun thing, and it's not. I don't take it too seriously.
Me too. Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I can leave it there, and it's so physical. It's hard, man.
Yeah, it really is. And I'm not really a physical player. I actually meant to say that you were saying the same thing earlier.
Yeah.
When you started checking, like I was getting hurt.
Yeah,
really bad because I was pretty lanky and I didn't really hit a full on growth spurt yet.
Yeah.
But how old were you when you guys started checking?
15, I think.
Yeah, I think
Bantam, we used to call it.
Bantam. I started one level down checking was Pee Wee. We started checking.
Yeah, because you're a bit younger than me, and they brought it in. I remember they brought it in only a few years after.
Okay.
That they brought it down younger, which is smarter because you shouldn't.
Yeah, I think they should just play the whole time because then kids learn how to take it. You know, because that was my problem is I was on the bottom side of the growth spurt, so I'm playing with kids that are 6 feet tall, and I'm like barely crossing 5 feet, and I'm getting drilled. Yeah.
My dad used to have to leave; he couldn't watch it.
Yeah, so, my dad was actually the coach, but my mom and my aunt had a couple. Had some rough times. I got pulled off and on a stretcher one game.
Oh my god!
Yeah, it was just a minor concussion. It wasn't bad, but it was one of those where I just wasn't against the boards.
Yeah.
So I got hit into the boards, and my head just rocked, and I was just like, I don't know where I am right now.
Yeah, it's stuff like that where I'm like, I don't think I'd be an NHL player.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, it's hard, man. They travel every night. I'm a Montreal Canadiens fan.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, which was a tough year, but now it's good because we're going to get a good draft pick. Anyway, I watch every game. I'll watch on my phone. In Halt and Catch Fire, so you know the scene, it's in season 2, so if you've seen all that, where I leave and I go on my bike, and I'm like, you did this all yourself to Mackenzie. She comes out, and she's like, I can't do this without you. I couldn't have done anything. I'm like, you did it all yourself, and I ride away. In between, so that was like a kind of a big scene.
Yeah.
In between takes, while they're like, pictures up, I was watching the Habs in the playoffs on my phone. And Mackenzie's like, what are you doing? I was like, and then like, pictures up, like frame, slate in, and I'm like, oh. Listen, do this all yourself. Like I was like,
I love it.
Hooked. I was
that's
like,
awesome.
Like that's how hardcore I am. And for the Habs, I was like, they were out of the playoffs with like 30 games left. So to get up and go, to go do that, 30 games when you're like, we know we aren't going to make it. We have to fly in here, fly in there, face the media, practice. Fuck, dude. Like,
yeah, that's got to be rough.
That's tough, man.
Why is that the short for Canadians?
Nays Habitant. The home team. No, in Montreal, it was the home team. Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah.
So you do Halt and Catch Fire, and where did you go from there?
Well, after Halt and Catch Fire, I kept going back. It actually worked out really, really strange. Like, full disclosure, I was supposed to do multiple seasons.
Okay.
After the 6 episodes, they decided to pick it up sort of so that I would continue on in the series. And then it got picked up for season 3, and then they were like, we don't think you're going to come back for a full season. So therefore, my option wasn't picked up.
Right.
Which I was like, disappointed, obviously. I was like, but I get it. I'm friends with the creators, and I was like, and right away. I think I texted them before the season ended to be like, look, I understand. I know how the season ended, which was a question mark on our relationship, mine and my character's relationship, that I was like, or mine and, Mackenzie's character's relationship, that I was like, I understand. Like, I just want you guys to not feel weird. Obviously, you're going to do what you have to do anyway, but I want you to know I'm cool with it. And then a few months later, they were like, look, we don't know if he'll be back or not. And I was like, oh, crap. So then it was like, yeah, he's not back. We're not picking up the option. And I was like, okay. And then that day, I got a call about The Last Tycoon. And Billy Ray, who's the creator, I was going to see him the next day.
Wow.
And I just found out my show wasn't going. And then there was a new pilot. And I'm a big fan of Billy Ray. He made a great movie called Shattered Glass with Hayden Christensen and Peter Sarsgaard. And he wrote The Hunger Games. He wrote Captain Phillips. Like, he's amazing. And I was like, oh my God, Billy Ray. I was like, that's really cool. And it was the same casting director as Halt and Catch Fire. So then they brought me in the next day.
That worked out nicely then.
Yeah, and then I screen tested a few days later, and then I got it. And I was like, oh my God. So it just kind of, and then that opened up a lot of doors, and then I did a lot of movies in the past 2 years. I think I did about 10 movies.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy.
And a lot of them are like not, like you just got back filming one of them.
Yeah. I just filmed goalie, so I played Terry Sawchuk, who's a legendary goalie. And
I'm really excited to talk about this because you don't play goalie, at least not out in drop-in.
No.
So what was that like?
Dude.
Because you're obviously a really good forward.
It was intense. But you know what? They all laughed at me because I was like, I play goalie a lot in street hockey. And they were like, I was like, no, I think that's going to help. Like, I love playing in net in street hockey. So, and I only played like twice on the ice ever, like just screwing around when I was like 20 or 19 or something probably. So then they had a goalie coach, and I went there and I worked with him for about probably 10 on-ice hours. And he was like, you're good to go. And I was like, because I don't think I was set in any sort of stance or particular way of playing enough. So I could adapt.
Almost like you had no bad habits.
Exactly. So, and also, because you're not just playing goalie, you have to play like Terry Sawchuk plays goal.
Oh.
And he used to do a crouch, which was crazy back then because he didn't have a mask. So he would crouch to see the puck through the legs and stuff like that. And he had a very unique style, so I had to learn that.
So you're not even wearing like the...
No, he didn't wear a mask.
Horror mask.
He started playing in the 50s, and he started using the mask like in the 60s.
Wow.
So for like 10 years. Can you imagine? Like
no, but I mean,
it was.
You obviously are they shooting at you at all?
They shot some pucks at me. Yeah, we had a foam puck. So I had to make a lot of saves, and they're real. Like, they were shot. It's a foam puck. It moves almost the same speed as a regular puck, but it doesn't hurt as much. Because it needs a certain amount of weight.
Yeah, and at least it's foam, so if you do get hit in the face.
So I know, my agent kept calling. He was like, you're not hitting the face, are you? Because there's another opportunity. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool, I'm good. But, like, the foam puck is weird because it'll change direction.
Yeah.
So I actually wanted the weightier ones. And so I'd be like, shoot this side, shoot that side. And even then, it's like, they're shooting at full throttle. So by the end of it, it was pretty cool because Jerry Sawchuk, who's Terry's son, he told me, he was like, you could be a goalie. And I was like, whoa.
Really?
So I was like, I'm thinking about getting pads. I'm like, I might try it.
Dude, we need goalies all the time.
Well, I think there's goalie gear at the stadium we play at in a locker if we don't have a goalie.
There is, yeah.
So I was going to start by telling JP, who runs the skate, to be like, if next time you don't have a goalie, I'll do it. So I'll start there.
Try that. I don't know how, because you're kind of a tall dude. I don't know how
well it'll fit me.
Yeah, I feel like they're kind of small.
I think they are. Yeah, so I'm kind of worried.
Maybe just start with just buy the shin pads and then maybe use the rest of the gear there. I feel like
actually that's a good idea, and I might try it, man. It's fun, like. But by the end of it, I kind of got the okay, but it was crazy when we were on the ice. Like I literally finished filming 4 days ago, and I took those foam pucks, like they're foam, but I took about 5 to the face.
Yeah, and it's got to sting a little bit.
It stings, yeah. It's kind of like getting a soccer ball to the face. Obviously, a smaller amount of exposure
surface.
To it. Yeah, but it still hurts. And then one day we were doing the puck. We did a real puck because they were doing a 2-on-1 where the guy passes over and then it's a one-timer. And I told them they actually had to come in on the 2-on-1 because the coverage was a camera on me and there was a camera on them. So we needed to see the play as it developed. So I told the director, because I was a producer on the film as well, so I was like, I really kind of took on a lot of the hockey stuff.
Yeah.
So I was like, you need a real puck. These guys can't pass around a foam puck. It doesn't move the same way. It's going to be hard. So they were like, well, that means you have to make the save on a real puck. And I was like, yeah, it's fine. I'm making a stacked pad save, like a sliding pad save. So the first time we did it, great. And he slid along the ice and fast, but like I was in position and it was all good. And then the second time we did it, I wasn't wearing a jock because there's no...
Oh, yeah.
I didn't think I need one. I was like, we're using foam puck and the pants that you wear alone have enough kind of give. So I was like, it's fine. And then the puck hit me right in the nuts. And I was like, because he slid across, he's supposed to hit my pants, but he just shot it too deep. So he shot it into my nuts. And man, that hurts a lot. And then I didn't tell anyone.
Yeah. Like, I'm good.
I was like, it's good. Let's keep going. They're like, we got it. I was like, thank God. And I went off and I nursed my wounds for like an hour or so.
Yeah. So not only are you an actor, but you produce and you have even some directing credits too.
Yeah,
as well,
I directed about 10 short films or so. I directed an episode of Republic of Doyle, and
oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
In the 6th season, I directed an episode, and it took a long time to kind of prove. Because there's a lot of money at stake, a lot of time at stake. And I think towards the end, I directed second unit for them. I did webisodes. And now it's like I've been just focusing on making my first feature, which I've written about 6 or 7 scripts in the past 2 years that are at different development stages everywhere. And I actually was talking to someone the other day, and they were like, it was a producer who was really great, and he was like, do you consider yourself an actor or director or an actor's director? And I was like, it's all part of the same. That's what I love about it. It's kind of like what I was saying with my buddies. It goes back to filming, and then use the camera. It's like, it's all combined. Like,
it's all a collaborative effort.
It is.
So there's no reason why you can't be in a little bit of everything.
Yeah, and I think it works. Like the best collaboration with actors is when it's like you talk about the scene beforehand a little bit.
Yeah.
Sometimes it just works, but sometimes it's like, I think it's kind of like this. I think, okay, great. And like, so you have a bit of a communication going already so that you don't just come to set and then the director's like, stand there, go over there, walk here, do this. And you're like, okay. Like, and you don't really get to do anything. And it's stifling when that happens. And that's like, that's when I don't like the job. I'm like, I'm not doing anything. I'm not bringing anything to this. I'm just a prop that's walking over here now and saying a line.
Totally.
And it's actually a friend of mine, before it pulled up, I was outside on the phone for a while because a friend of mine's on set dealing with that right now.
Oh, really?
He's like, dude, I'm having a hard time. This sucks. Like, the director's kind of boxing me in. And I was just like, you got to talk to him, man. Like, be like, I'm trying to, like, say you're the writer-director of a film and I'm in it. If I just do everything you say and I'm happy with it because it's so good, then that's great. But sometimes if it's not working for you, that it hurts the process for two things. One, I might be able to elevate the material. An actor has that capability to be like, whoa, that was even better than I thought. Or if what I'm doing doesn't work, at least it validates the way you wanted it done in the beginning.
Yeah.
So that way you'll be like, that didn't work. I feel better about what I did. So I think you have to kind of try and make something interesting. And I believe so much as an artist, and you don't double down. It's kind of like if there's a crying scene, I don't need to hear the strings of the music.
Yeah.
Because I already have the guy crying. So, and a lot of times you run into that where people really want you to double down on the emotion. I'm like, the emotion's already in the words. If I'm telling her I love her, I don't need to be like, I love you. Like, it's like, I don't need to do that. He's already saying that.
Yeah.
Now, it depends on the situation. And I'm a big believer in that. But then, it was kind of a long diatribe, but I just worked with Jason Reitman, who's a fantastic director. He did Juno and Thank You for Smoking and Up in the Air. I did a movie with him and Hugh Jackman. And he was amazing, and Jason's amazing. And Jason has that rare ability to be able to know exactly what he wants beforehand. And it's great.
So you have no argument.
So it's awesome. Yeah. It's actually one of those, and it was weird at first because he's like, so you're going to go over here, you guys are going to be here. And you could be like, I don't think so. And he's like, okay, great, don't do that. We'll just catch the camera over here. I'm like, whoa, he like, adapts.
Yeah.
But 99% of the time, what he says is just like, yeah, that makes perfect sense. I mean, so it's great. It's actually like, so it's a funny thing how it depends on the person.
Right.
And it depends on their confidence and the script. And Jason is so accomplished, and he's been doing this since he was like a kid. That it's like everything he says, I'm like, yes, I will do whatever you want. Same with Denis Villeneuve in Arrival. Like, he's the same thing. You're like, I will just go stand there because that is the best thing to do. Like, you are brilliant.
Yeah.
I'll just shut up. And it's great. So, yeah.
Well, that's great. I feel like, you know, especially if you're fortunate to be working with really high quality and high caliber directors, you know. Is there a moment of where you're just sort of like, yeah, I absolutely do trust you, or is there ever a little bit, even with high quality directors, is there ever a little voice in the back of you're like, well, I think like maybe we should just try this?
And I think it's the day you meet him. We were talking about auditions. When someone comes in, you can feel if someone's nervous. The same thing with directors. You can tell right away if they know what they're doing. You can tell, and it comes down to preparation. Really, it's not even about personality. Is great. You want to work with nice people. But it's also, you can tell the minute they walk in, this person knows what they're doing. And this person might know what they're doing and need 30 takes. But they still know what they're doing, and that's part of it. And like, so it's an interesting thing. It's like, that's what you want. It's like, this person knows what's going on. But I learned it really early on. It was actually in Arrival because that was the first role I had. And I was a smaller part, but I was there a lot. And that was the first role I had where I was working with someone who was massive to me. And Denis Villeneuve, I mean, he's made Sicario and Blade Runner. He's amazing. And I remember there was one day on set, and it was one of my first scenes with Jeremy Renner and Amy Adams. And I was like, nervous to a degree. I was more just like, there's not much here for me to do. I want to do something to make this a part instead of a guy just standing there.
Right.
And so we blocked it. We went through it, and then I had that voice in the back of my head, just what you said, and I was like, I don't think that works very well. And then and he was about to walk away to go like to the monitors and stuff, and we were going to shoot it.
Right.
And I was like, I don't think I should do that. I was like, I don't think that makes any sense. I think he should go over here. I think he should this happen, that happen. And he was like, oh yeah, that's great. And it was a big moment for me of like, oh wow, even with these guys, the A-list guys, they're still just people.
They are still just people, and it's all about really communication at that point.
Yeah.
You know, you got the job, so they know, you know that they think you're the right guy for it, and so it's all about just making it happen. It's back to that collaborative effort.
Yeah,
you know?
and it's communication, man. It's just like talking. It's just like the worst thing that can happen is when you feel strongly about something, and you don't say anything.
Yeah,
it's because then you go away feeling like shit, and then the project suffers, and everybody suffers because of that. Your agent suffers because you weren't as good because you didn't say anything. And I think it's the most important thing in art is like what you're communicating and how you do it. And you guys are so good at that. I've seen some of your stage stuff, and I was like, fuck, I want to be at that concert. Like it's true. Like it's true. It's like there's just something you guys give off. I saw Wu-Tang once. I'm a big Wu-Tang fan.
Nice.
And have been since I was like a kid. And I went to see Ghostface and Raekwon once, and they're two prominent members of Wu-Tang. And I saw Ghostface twice, 2 different times, and both times he said, and he stops in the middle of the concert, and he's like, yo, listen, we're going to give you what you give us. So whatever you give us, we'll give it to you back. If you don't give us anything, we aren't going to give you anything. And he wasn't saying it as like, fuck you. He was doing it as in like, literally, we feed off of you, so give it to me. And then he gets the crowd going. And it's true, and you guys do that really well. Where it's you get everyone into it.
Thank you. Yeah, Speaking of live performances, South America and Mexico, really, and Italy really understand that we will give you what you give us, sort of thing. They like naturally, without even saying anything. Yeah. They just understand that aspect of the show. Like we're all on the same team. We're all here for this one experience. Those are the best shows.
I wonder why that is.
I don't know. Bruce Springsteen had a good quote. He was like, it's because everyone else comes to see the show, and they come to be a part of the show. Wow. And that's what it is, man. It is, and the hands down the best concerts we've ever had. And granted, we do have an extra sort of level of popularity over there.
So Mexico, Italy, and what was the other one?
All of South America.
All of South America.
Especially Argentina and Brazil. Wow. Like, we played 8,000 people in Argentina, in this arena, and it's just insane. The energy is unlike anything I've
That's
ever
so
experienced.
cool.
Yeah,
because it is collaborative. Like, it's even like my favorite movies. Like, I watch a movie every day, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with movies, every movie. And the best movies are the ones that leave you with something to project onto it. Like when you walk out being like, oh wow, what the fuck? Like, you know what I mean? Like when a movie wraps up. I mean, some movies wrap up great. Like, you know, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade is like, it's just a great movie.
Yes.
You're like, awesome. But Spielberg's also one of the greatest filmmakers who ever lived, if not the best.
yeah.
So
Did you
it's
see
like-
Ready Player One?
I haven't seen it yet. Is it good?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm
Go
excited
see
to see it. Now that I'm back, I'm like, there's a bunch of movies I got to see.
Yeah.
But like, I love it when there's something interactive, something that you are left with to think about. And that's what I always want to do as an artist, is like to make something. There's a great Charles Bukowski quote where he's like, you know, it's the uncommon thought on a common matter. That's what I was talking about with Doubling Down, where it's like, oh, it's a little bit different. Like actually, I like that scene. I don't have to toot my own horn, but it just goes back into what I was saying. That scene with Mackenzie where she's having the panic attack and Halt and Catch Fire. And at the end, I kind of laugh with her. I'm like, don't go. Like, don't go. I just thought that was more interesting, that it's like, he thinks, like, he's trying to calm. That's a way you would calm someone.
Exactly.
Really, in real life.
That is totally true.
You wouldn't just be like, don't worry, I'll be right back. And it's like, that's the way we would perceive that to go. Mm-hmm. When in actuality, if the person was that much in control to handle them so well, that they would be so comfortable to give them some comfort, to be like, it's fine, it's okay, man, like, it's all good. Like,
that's what I think I loved about that scene so much, is I forgot I was watching a show.
Oh wow!
Like it was so real. It was so real to me, and it felt like I was like in the room with you guys.
Yeah.
And like you should be so proud of that moment, man,
thanks,
because
man.
it was just fantastic.
I had a lot of fun. I think that was one of the first episodes too. But it's I think it
was early on.
It's what someone would do. It's so funny. I was listening to a podcast this morning of Jesse Plemons, who's a great actor. He was on Breaking Bad, Friday Night Lights. I met him last year, and I just thought he was such a great guy. I was listening to him on Chris Hardwick's new show. It's not The Nerdist, it's ID10T. Spells idiot. I don't know. I think it's The Nerdist. I don't know anything about it.
Gotcha.
Anyway, I saw it, and I was like at the gym, and I was like, I'll listen to this. And he said something that was... they were talking about commercial auditioning, which you've probably auditioned for commercials before. Yeah, and what they want in a commercial is something that's never really real.
Yeah.
It's kind of like,
commercial
I walk in the room and I see a ghost being like, woo, and I'm supposed to be like, huh? As opposed to, if that was real life, I'd be like, ha!
Yeah,
like,
you would freak out.
I'd freak out. And even more than that, if you went even further, I'd probably stay for a moment before freaking out. I'd probably be like, hello? Like, Georgina, which my wife said, I'd be like, Georgina? Okay, and then I'd go.
Yeah.
To be honest, like, that's actually kind of what you would do. Or you might even kind of approach it a bit more. So it's like, when you actually just think, it's like, what would actually happen though? Mm-hmm. And sometimes movies or writing that's just like on the surface just cuts to, they just want to hit a story beat.
Yeah.
And that's when something kind of dies, because the most interesting work is when it's like, it wasn't a story beat, it was actual human behavior.
It was real,
like, and it catches you. Like, that's why Christian Bale, I think, is such a good actor. He'll do stuff that catches you, that you're like in The Fighter, you're like, fuck, man, like, there's so many little intricate things he does in that fucking performance. And I'm like, that's so good.
Yeah.
I don't even care what's happening in this script.
Totally.
Like, fuck, he's so good.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Isn't that funny? Like, when you watch someone and you're just like, everything you're doing is just unbelievably good.
I know, and I've worked with some people that on the day we're shooting, I'm like, yeah, they're pretty good. And then I watch it, I'm like, they're phenomenal. Yeah. Like, they knew, the camera knows. Like, some people work well with a camera, and other people just don't. Like,
Totally.
It just doesn't work.
Yeah, unfortunately. Well, speaking of auditioning, I feel like I have a lot of friends in this industry that are like right underneath like the line where they're constantly working. Like, if they can just jump over that line. And then I have a couple friends that are like, they don't really audition anymore. That like I feel like you're right underneath that line of like you I'm sure you're getting offers and then occasionally having auditioning.
Yeah, it's kind of a mix of both. It's exactly a mix of both, and it's
because you're working. It seems like you're working like crazy. I mean, your resume is full.
Yeah,
you're constantly doing stuff.
Yeah, it's been pretty busy lately, and it is that point now where it's kind of like there's things you have to weigh, and it's really difficult. Yeah, like because you're choosing something it's come to me that it used to be about career. It was like, what kind of career do I want to build? I want to be like this actor. I want to be like that actor. And then I realized, fuck that. No two careers are the same. Mm-hmm. I got to stop trying to be like someone else's career. I was never trying to be like someone else as an actor, but just their path. And then I realized it was like, it's not about that. It's about a trajectory. And then I realized it's not about that. I'm 33, like, you know what I mean? I have a kid. I'm married. It's days of my life. Like, what do I want to spend my day doing?
Yeah.
And if this story doesn't fucking resonate with me, if I don't give a shit about this, if I'm not interested, if I don't want to work with these people, those are days of my life that I pass by. Those are hours of my life not with my daughter. Those are hours of my life I could have been talking to my dad on the phone or playing hockey.
Totally.
Or being here right now, which is fun. It's like, so what is worth it? And that's what it comes down to now for me. It's like, what is worth it? Because it's your life. It's not just your career. It's your fucking life. And I think also, too, it's like, if you go to decide to do that job, that means you're missing out on maybe something that was better.
Another job. Yeah.
So it needs to be something that, it's not even about it being good, it's something that resonates. You're like, I care. I just care about what I'm doing. Because I've not cared.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've not cared. There must have been a show you played or a role you played or something you did at some point that you were like, this fucking sucks. And it sucks. It somehow is like more soul-sucking than anything.
Yeah.
It's more soul-sucking than not having work. It's like, oh, God. And it's weird. So I'm at that stage now where I'm very particular. And if I do something I'm not sure of, I want to make sure I can have some sort of input.
Yeah.
While being respectful at the same time.
That's great. Do you have a preference of as far as producing, directing, writing? Is there anyone, like, if you could only do one sort of thing? I know you probably get asked that all the time.
No, that's actually, no one's ever said if you could ever only do one. That was asked, which do you prefer? Which is a kind of a more on the surface way of asking that. But
yeah, I'm just curious if
only do one, it would be acting.
Yeah, if you're drawn to one more.
Yeah, acting is. I'll say this, and this is just full honesty. Like, I love directing, I love writing, I love producing, I love being a part of it. But making a movie is very difficult.
Yeah.
And anyone who does it, every movie is a miracle that gets made. And anyone who does it, I just have respect for immediately. I'm like, man, they got it made, they wrote it, and they found someone to fund it, and they funded it themselves, or they did it. And actors, if you are working, I wouldn't say you're lucky, because anyone who's working has worked to be there, they've worked hard. You're in a privileged position, though, that you've gotten there yourself, but you're privileged to be like, I can just go do the job. I don't have to rely on getting funding. Because I'm trying to make movies, and it's very difficult. Now, that being said, that's my perspective, because there's some people who are acting and they haven't had their break yet, and they're like, it's way fucking harder.
Yeah.
So it's different for everybody, but for me, I think if I had to do one, it'd be acting, just because you're able to just walk in and just do it a bit more. Whereas directing, this movie I just did, the Terry Sawchuk film, it took them 8 years to get the money together.
Wow.
The movie made, and the director, who's a friend of mine, her first film, which I was in, went to Sundance. Her first film was at Sundance.
Wow.
And she still took 8 years. So that is like, it's just really hard on the psyche, I think. So yeah, acting, man, because you can just jump in.
Nice. Where are you at with you? Because you said you're directing your first feature.
So there's like 4 features right now. I'm just waiting for whichever first one kind of breaks. And they're all funny stages, because there's one I want to make for $300,000 because it's just a smaller movie, and I want to shoot in black and white and everything like that. And then there's another like kind of bigger sci-fi film that we'll see, and then there's another Western that's like a we'll see. So it's whichever one pops. And that's like if I had any advice to give to a director or a writer, I wouldn't really know what to say. But as an actor who's a writer and director, I would say write multiple fucking scripts, man. Because I can be like, Riker, here you go, man. Here's my opus. Like, I wrote this, and you can be like, yeah, it doesn't work for me. What else you got? And you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah, you're like, that's all.
That's it.
I've spent years doing this one thing.
And it's about a garbage man, and he wants to, be an engineer. And it's like, that's a very specific thing. I think we're looking for something else. And you're like, shit. So it's like...
Wow, that's very interesting. Because I don't really see myself... I like to... just like have the material and then bring it to life. I don't really even like to write songs. I let the boys, my brothers, do that, and then I like to make the stage show. I like to bring it to life. And same thing with acting. Like I don't really have an interest in writing, but that's very interesting. It's like you works on this writing piece, and someone's like, what else you got? And you're like, oh shit.
And that's the way it goes. And they're like, how are you gonna make it? And you're like, I don't fucking know. Can I have some money? But it's cool that you know that, though, because some people are like, I meet a lot of people who are like, should I write? should I be doing something else because acting can be stagnant?
Yeah.
And I'm like, don't do it if you don't want to.
Yeah,
like,
I've always had that interesting ability. I think like I just know what I want at almost all times of the day.
Yeah.
Like it's for whatever
and
reason.
Isn't that great?
It's fantastic because I'm very happy.
Yeah.
throughout the day.
Me too. I'm the same as you. In that I don't like a whole lot of things. I like a very concentrated amount of things so much that there's no room for anything else. And my wife always makes fun of me. I'm like, I don't care about that other thing. I only have room for like 8 things, and I love them so much that it dictates every decision so perfectly. Like, I'm the kind of guy who orders the same thing at the restaurant every time because I'm like, but I know it's amazing.
I know it's amazing.
Why
Dude,
would,
yes!
Why would
That's hilarious.
Why would I take a shot on the poached salmon when I know that the club here is perfect?
Yeah.
It's like, why? And people are like, try new things. I'm like, but it's perfect.
Yeah.
Like,
that's
why I came.
I have those exact moments, and every once in a while I'm like, well, let me try something different.
Yeah.
Or like even just going to a new, like I have like a couple of my like favorite restaurants. Like I have a couple favorite like Mexican restaurants, for example. Yeah. But we're kind of new in this area, and so like, well, let's try something new. Let's try something close by the house. And it's just like, you go there and it's not as good. And you're like, I wish I would have just gone to the place that I know I love.
could be eating the thing I love right now. Like,
that's so funny.
Sucks. Yeah, I do the exact same thing.
We're actually a lot alike.
I know, I'm realizing that. Yeah, I'm very particular. And like, yeah, my wife makes fun of me a lot, but it's true. I think it's good to know the things you want. Like, I did a movie with Vera Farmiga. Vera Farmiga was the lead on Bates Motel. She's a fantastic actress. She's amazing. And she's a really nice woman. And she directed one movie. And she was talking about it one day, and I was just like, what led you to direct it? Like, did you want to start your directing career? Is that something you're interested in? She was like, no, I just wanted to play that role so bad that the only way I could do it was if I took it on as a director through, I'm sure, many different variables of why that was the case. And then she was like, I needed to. And I was like, do you want to direct another movie? And she was like, no, I like being directed. And she was so certain in the way she said it. I was like, oh, wow, that's so cool. Like, and she's such a strong woman anyway. I was just like, whatever you say is what I think. Like, so I thought that was really cool that she just knew right away. It's like, that's what I want to do.
It's a very, I'm very grateful for that because it feels really good. And I, like I said, I'm just genuinely, I enjoy most of the day because I know what I want.
Yeah, and that's why I love the hockey game we play. I'm like, it's great. I like those guys. Yeah. There's other games I played at that I was like, I don't know. And on that game, I'm like, I like everyone there. Yeah. It's a good game. It's always pretty fast. It's always fun. I know what to expect to a certain degree. Yes. And that's why I'm like, oh, let's try another game. I'm like, why would I waste perfectly good hours of the day?
Exactly. That's a real thing, man. Yeah. What's next for you?
Well, right now there are several things on the docket that I'm deciding. So I don't want to say which one. There's about 4 movies that are coming up that I'm attached to. Gotcha. That I would like to do all of them, but we'll see how the scheduling determines that. And it's kind of cool. Like, I just went back to Canada to do that movie. It was the first Canadian film I'd done since I moved here over 4 years ago. I'd gone back there to do American films, but I hadn't done a Canadian film. I really enjoyed it. So there's a couple things in Canada that I'm looking at. I'm like, the Canadian film scene is really impressive to me. Yeah. I don't think I'd really looked at it closely enough until recently. So I might go back and do a few films there. And then there's a couple things here. There's a pilot I just shot that by the time this airs may or may not be picked up. Right. But there's a pilot, so I'll try and word this in the right way right now. There's a pilot I just shot that I'm very excited about that. I thought we did a really good job. And whatever happens with it, I thought it was a really great experience. And, it's produced by Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. And Kevin Bacon was the star. And I'm one of the main characters. And I enjoyed it so much. We shot in Boston, it's set in Boston. Very cool. Yeah, and I loved every minute. And the thing about pilots is sometimes it can be, that's a shout out to Gus, by the way, that's what that was. It can be disappointing. Yeah. But I try and look at it in the sense that even if a pilot doesn't get picked up, you still had that experience. You still did, yeah. And you got the opportunity. And you were there, and you met people, and you showed what you can do, and you had a good time, and made a few bucks. So, there you go. So it's good. So that's what's coming up. And then a bunch of films that I wrote. So I'm trying not to look too far ahead because it's too hard. So I'm just looking at the next few months. Yeah. And so I got some decisions to make. But that's exciting to have. That is exciting. To have options, yeah. Well, congrats on everything so far, man. I mean, I'm really, really excited to see what you do next. And I'm a big fan, literally, like, legit. I cannot wait to watch everything. Thanks, man. And thanks for having me. This is really cool. It's cool to do like a positive show, just like chatting and having a drink.
Yeah.
It's like my ideal thing to do.
Yeah,
I should be a regular. I should be like every season. Like I should come back.
Once a season. Yeah. If I don't know how we're gonna end up doing multiple seasons, but if there's a recurring thing, you are definitely invited.
I would love
back.
to, man.
Yes. Thanks
for having me. It's great.
Thank you so much. It was great
brother.
talking to you. Yes, and I'll see you tomorrow.
I'll see you on the ice. Yeah, man.